So, today I wanted to talk about the divine economy. I know I've spoken before about reciprocation and about selfless service, but there's a whole divine economy that goes with this, and it's something that I'm really fascinated by. I'm really interested in it. It's something that I really like to talk about, and something that I really like to pass on to other people. I had an epiphany quite a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, where I had this at-one-ment, this kind of moment with God, whatever God is. But I felt it. It was this massive expansion in my body, and afterwards I was intuited this kind of secret, if you like, this obvious, truth. I suppose truth is the right word. It was just obvious. It was just something that was undeniably right in front of me. In Islam, they would use the word yaqeen, which means something that is undoubtedly, clearly right in front of you. Something that's just obvious. Something that's really clear, but most people overlook it. Because most people in the world are looking for profit, looking for dollars, looking for pounds, looking for what's in it for me. Because most people tend to think very small. They think about their mortgage, they think about their bills, they think about the things they want to achieve, their rewards, their recognition. But in the divine economy, it works on this huge scale where everything we do to ourselves. Everything we say to ourselves. Everything we give to ourselves. So everything we do for ourselves. In the divine economy, every single thing has a response. So whether you think, whether you say, whether you do something, it's registered. The action is registered in your body, in your soul, in your cells. That's why when you see people who are thinking and saying and doing negative things, in my mind anyway, I always just feel really sorry for them, because I just think you're going to see that again. That's going to be like last night's curry. You're going to be seeing that again if you've had 15 pints of lager. So it's this feeling that once we understand this reciprocal law, and this is what I was told or intuited after, it's what I was intuited after my epiphany. I was told or intuited that everything I gave out would return to me. Everything I gave out. It's a real basic law. Everything I thought, everything I said, everything I did would come back to me. That was really exciting and really scary. It was really scary because at the time I didn't really have much control over what I was thinking and what I was saying and what I was doing. And it was really exciting because it was also saying that if you can get control of the thinker, this is a thought creative universe, if you can get control of what you think and what you say and what you do and get them in alignment, then to a very large degree you become in charge of your own destiny. You become you become the creator of your own destiny. You become the creator of your own reality. So it's really exciting. When I first got this revelation, obviously I'd really expanded. I wanted to tell the whole world. I wanted to tell everybody. I was grabbing my family, I was grabbing my brothers, I was grabbing my brother-in-law, I was grabbing my students, and I was saying, you've got to listen to this. Everything we do will come back to us. This is really exciting. If we want, abundance, we just have to keep giving abundance. If we want joy, we have to keep giving joy. If we want love, we have to keep giving love. Whatever we want, we have to keep giving it, and just keep giving it and keep giving it and keep giving it, and don't look for no profit. It was a really simple law. And then later on, I read Mahatma Gandhi's interpretation of the Bhagavad Gita, and he said, of course, it's very simple. The secret, he said, is selfless service. Whatever you give out will continue to return to you. And then I was reading about Odin, I think it was from Greek mythology, who talked about the fact that everything we have today is a result of what we thought and did yesterday, and everything we have tomorrow will be as a thought of what we do today. Buddhism says exactly the same. The opening of the Dhammapada says what we have today is as a result of what we thought yesterday, and what we have tomorrow will be as a result of what we thought today. So we can start getting a control on what we want to create. This is the really exciting thing, that we can create our own reality. And what Odin said was, Odin went into the underworld to find out how the world worked, and he was told and shown in the underworld that whatever he thought and said and did would create his reality. He was in charge of his reality. His reality was, waiting for him to move, and when he moved, it would react. And this giant, this infinite force that he drew from, or that we all draw from, was kind of benign. It would just give you a response to what you gave out. So if you gave out shit, it would give you shit back. If you give out goodness, it would give you goodness back. So it was a real inspiration to start wanting to serve as many people as I can, and not in a kind of sense where you're saying, oh, I'm serving people, I'm a great bloke, look at how nice I am, look at what a good person I am. It was saying it is the most profitable business model you can have, to continue to serve. Just keep serving people, and serve people in as many ways as you can, specifically anonymous ways. And I don't mean serve somebody and then ring them up and say, oh, by the way, look at what I did for you, or tell all your friends, look at what I did for them, look at how important this is. I do a lot for charity, but I don't like to talk about it. Not that kind of service, because that kind of service is at the lower end, and it has its own reward, and its own reward is normally someone pats you on the back and says, oh, well done, you served. And of course, when you serve in that way as well, you're always looking for a thank you, you're always looking for a response, you're always looking for somebody to promote you for helping them, for serving them. And then you get very angry if you don't promote them. You get very angry if they don't serve you back. So that's the lower end of it. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for service. So we're looking for service that we're doing so much of that we don't look for a return, because we've done so much of it. We've served so many people in so many small, profound ways that there's no way of us knowing when it's going to come back, if it's going to come back, how it's going to come back. Because from my experience, and from having this epiphany, and from having lived my life, the majority of profit in selfless service, and selfless service means not expecting anything in return, the majority of profit from selfless service is referred. In other words, I might serve you, but the return may not come back from you. It may come back from, 2 or 3 people down from you. It may come back from somebody you spoke to, who spoke to somebody else, who spoke to somebody else. It may come back from somewhere completely different. It may come back instantly, or it may come back in 15 years. As an example, I did a course on Sunday with Peter, and there was a young guy on this course, and I was talking about the divine economy and the reciprocal universe. And I said, everything you give out will return. It will return at some point. He said, it's really weird. He says, because he said, my dad lives in Australia. He said, I'm an Australian. He said, my father wrote to you 15 years ago, and you sent him a free book. I said, and here I am 15 years later spending £100 to come and train with you in England. I think the course was £100 for the day. So it was something I did a long time ago, and 15 years later comes the response. Now, when you're dealing with somebody, I don't remember sending this guy a book, but there will have been an intuition. At the time I sent it, I would have had a feeling that I needed to do it. It's not something you do to everybody. You don't send everybody free books, but if I get a feeling that this person needs to read a certain book, or this person needs to have a phone call or an email, but there needs to be no money attached to it, then I'll just follow that intuition. God speaks to us through our intuition. I'll just follow that and send it out, and I don't think any more about it again. I do it. You try to do this so often, with just saying hello to people, just being nice to people, returning an email, returning a phone call, meeting somebody for a cup of tea. You do it so often that you have no way of recalling it. And of course, that's when you're doing it right, because you don't recall it. This kind of thing is so valuable, because if you can get the law, if you can understand the law, and you understand that everything you give out will return, and I have no doubt about this, I have no doubts at all. If you have that belief, then you can work away quietly every single day, every minute of every single day, putting out good stuff, great stuff, amazing stuff, transformative stuff, fantastic stuff, beautiful stuff, and training your mind not to put out negativities. not to put out criticisms, not to put out put downs, not to try and hurt people, not to try and expose people, not to try and do any of that stuff, because that's obviously, we know that doesn't help people, that doesn't serve people. And when people do that kind of thing, obviously it just damages them, because everything we do for ourselves. Everything we do to ourselves. That is without question, I have no doubt about it. And that was my big epiphany. And it was the most exciting thing I'd ever heard. And again, even just this week, reading Gandhi's version of the Bhagavad Gita, he said, of course it's simple. When we serve selflessly, we get abundance. It just continues to come back. How exciting that we can just continually give, continually serve. So we can think about people, we can say nice things about people. And if we haven't got anything nice to say, we don't say anything at all. We can serve them in that way. We can do nice things for people, but not announce it. There's something it says in the Kabbalah. Never ever tell anybody about your service, ever. Don't tell anybody, keep it a secret. But don't worry, because everyone will find out eventually, but they won't find out from you. And when they find out, it will be 10 times more powerful, 10 times more valuable. As a teacher, I have one or two examples that I use to teach. So I'll say this is one of the things I did and it brought back a massive return. I do that as a teacher. 98% of what you do needs to be invisible, needs to be anonymous. And if you can, set up anonymous pipelines of philanthropy so that you're continually serving people every single day. Serve the people who are good, serve the people who are bad, serve the people who are indifferent. Like a tree. If you walk past a tree in Coombe Abbey, it doesn't care who you are, whether you're a killer or you're a holy saint, it will serve you, it will give you oxygen, it will feed you. Because it also knows that everything in the universe will eventually find its way back into the ground and it will serve the tree. Everything is cyclical. Nothing is ever wasted. And it's really very exciting that we have the opportunity now to do this every single day. So every time we have that urge to write something nasty on Twitter, or to write something nasty on Facebook, or to write somebody a nasty letter, or to phone call give someone a phone call and be nasty. Every time we have that inclination to do it, we stop ourselves. This is the height of spiritual intelligence. We stop ourselves and say, I'm doing that to myself. That's what I'm doing to me, because that's going to come back to me. The moment I say it, the moment I think it, the moment I say it, the moment I do it, I am fucking wearing it. It's me. It's in my skin. It's in my cells. And believe me, I know this from massive experience, because I've done a lot of things wrong, a lot of things. So everything we've done will return to us good. Everything will return will return to us bad. And we can't hide from that. We can't escape from that. Our skin will be a testimony for us. Our skin will be a testimony against us. It is in us. This is one of the big things I've intuited from my spiritual journey so far. Karma isn't something that's out there, like black pebbles, white pebbles, good and bad, waiting to catch us out. Karma is something we are carrying all the time, and it's just a matter of time until we see it resurface. Very exciting, because you can do something with that. You can work on that from this moment. You can go away from here now and you can start working on that from this moment. You can start thinking good things about people, especially if they're people that have challenged you, if they're people that are difficult. Forgive them, serve them, think about them in your meditation, pray for them, whatever it is you like to do, but don't let yourself think or say or do anything bad. Sometimes we have to process stuff, sometimes we have to shout and scream a little bit, sometimes that pilot light of aggression comes on and we feel like we feel like being angry, but we contain that. We recognise that everything we do to other people, we do to ourselves. And this isn't like me warning people and saying don't do bad things. This is me saying this is the most powerful message you'll ever get. Find millions of people to serve, and they're all around you. The opportunity's there all the time. I had a friend who used this law, but to the negative. I used it to the negative myself as well, as a doorman. I was violent in my thinking, I was violent in my speaking, I was violent in my actions. And I never escaped that. I had 10 years of violence, and then I had another 10 years of depression, of illness, of living in the ninth circle of hell. It took me a long time to clear and atone myself of that all those different experiences. But I had a friend who spent a long time doing something illegal, and it was so illegal that my friend kept it a secret. He kept it a secret from everybody, and he did it quite often. He did it over a period of 20 years. This friend of mine, and people would say to me, it sneaked out that he'd been doing all these different things, stealing, violence, quite a lot of different things, and people would say to me, that karmic law doesn't work, because so and so has been doing all these things and everyone knows about it. He's keeping it a secret, but people know about it, and he's getting away with it. He's a millionaire. He's got a posh house, he's got a nice girlfriend or a nice wife, he's got his kids, but that friend of mine, and he was a very close friend, he was someone that I really loved and really admired, because he obviously went on a very dark path, but he ended up getting life in prison. So everything he'd stored up in secret, everything he'd stored up and everything he'd done over a period of time was collecting. This karma was collecting. Karma means action. Action collects karma. The moment we do something, or think or say I'll do something, it becomes, it goes out there and it's going to have a response. And I've seen that with dozens and dozens of people. I've seen it with people who do illicit things, and they do it very secretly. And some of them, even they don't know they're doing it to themselves. At some level, they're in denial of it themselves. And I watch that karma collecting up, and then suddenly it comes forward with massive profit, huge profit, but not good profit. So here's the thing. I've seen that work for the good, and I've seen it work for the bad. I've done it for the good, and I've done it for the bad. For the last 10 years, the last 15 years, I've been trying very, very hard to just put out great stuff. So here's the thing. This is the way to build up a very, very powerful, anonymous, philanthropic pipeline. Something that will continue to bring back a return for you. Find something you can do to serve somebody that's anonymous, that not even your wife knows, or your husband knows, or your friends know, or your accountant knows. Nobody knows, just you and God. So your right arm and your left arm doesn't know, your right arm doesn't know what your left arm is doing. Find something, resist the urge to tell anybody, and serve somebody, or some, however. I'm not going to tell you the kind of things I like to do, but this is just the idea. Find something secret that nobody else knows about, and go about serving people as often as you can. And the best way obviously to do that is to do it initially through meditation, through prayer. You can pray for people or meditate on people and send good wishes to people completely anonymously. Nobody else will know you're doing that, nobody. And there's other things you can do in the world of men as well, where you can plant seeds. I had a friend of mine many years ago, and he didn't tell me about this. I found out about it, but he used to have copies of a book that everywhere he went, he would take 10 or 15 copies of these books. So he went to London, or he went to Edinburgh, or he travelled quite a lot, this guy. Wherever he went, he would take 10 or 15 copies of these books, and he would write on the inside of the book, gift, and he would just leave them lying around all over the world. It was a very positive, motivational book, and it was a book that would really help people. But he stood the cost of it, my friend, and when he went out into the world, he just left copies of it everywhere. And I was really inspired by it, because it was like he's just leaving these copies everywhere, and he's planting seeds. So at some point, someone's going to pick up that book, and it could have a transformative effect on them. It could have a life-changing effect on them, because there's something in that book that will really help them. So that was just one idea. I had another friend who's recently died, lived an amazing life, called David. His business went into very bad decline many years ago, and he told me that he read the Bible back to back twice, and he found a secret in the Bible. This was in the New Testament, I think, and he said the secret was selfless service, but anonymous. He said it was really important that it stayed anonymous. He said because if it wasn't anonymous, the praise you got from people and the award you got from people for your work in charity became the reward itself. So it became an act of vanity. It's what St. Paul would call clanging cymbals. So it didn't go anywhere, it was just noise. So he said it's very important, and I found out from his son actually that he once a week he was working, once he realised what the secret was, he decided he was going to use the secret to build his business back up again. He recognised that it was about serving everybody, he recognised it was about seeing everybody as equal. So he started doing work with the Samaritans. Even his wife didn't know he was doing this. She only found out because she thought he was having an affair, because he kept going out every Wednesday. So she found out about it by accident. He set up an anonymous charity that only him and his accountant knew about, where he served people in the arts. He became a qualified tax accountant, and used to go into court and defend people who were struggling with tax. You know, because he felt at the time with this gentleman, I think that they were paying something like 80% tax, and he felt it was daylight robbery. So he learnt about tax, and he went and did pro bono work helping people in court. His son told me that he had about 200 workers at his paint factory, and he said he would go out to the shop and regularly buy, you know, like 100 birthday cards. So every day in the factory it was somebody's birthday, he would go down and give them a birthday card. He remembered them, he thought about them. And there was a lot of things he did in his life, some of the things that my friend didn't find out about actually till he died, that nobody knew about, only him. And he never ever talked about it. He once spoke to me, and again he was the kind of guy that would give you one or two examples, but he wouldn't tell you how he worked himself. He was keen on passing on. He was keen to pass on the knowledge of reciprocation and the divine economy, but he wouldn't tell you how he did it exactly himself. So this guy created massive financial and emotional and spiritual success from anonymous philanthropy. So I think there'll be ways, if you're watching this now, there'll probably be ways that you can think about personally that are unique to you, that you could do lots of anonymous service. Take advantage of the fact that what you put out there will return, but I'm going to emphasize it again, don't get smug about it. I've done that doesn't work. Don't be too busy patting yourself on the back and saying what a great bloke I am. It's not about that. And don't be tempted to tell people. You know, I had a friend the other day said, yeah, I'd like to tithe, but I won't talk about it. And then he says, I go into hospitals and talk to people and help them through their problems, but I can't talk about it. But he'd already talked about it because it's so delicious, it's so tempting to want to say to people, this is what I'm doing, I'm really helping people. So it's best if you can to keep it anonymous, because if it's not anonymous, it doesn't work. It just becomes a barter, and then when you've got a barter, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and it normally ends up with people being angry, bitter. I did this for you, look at how much I did for you, you did nothing back. That's when you know it's a barter, it's not service. If you're serving people, you don't even expect a thank you if you open the door for them. You expect nothing back at all. And you should do so much of it that you don't remember you've even done it. Someone should come up to you and say, you wrote to me 5 years ago and it changed my life, or you did this for me and it changed my life, or you did that for me and it really helped me. And you should look at them and think, I don't remember, because you've done it for so many people. You've done it so many times. This is the best kept secret in the world. It's a secret that's hidden in plain sight. It's right in front of you. It's undoubtedly right in front of you, and it's very, very powerful. I'll give you one of the stories that I like to use because it really illustrates this, and this is about this is what I call divine marketing, not divine marketing, divine networking. You know, most people go to networking parties, they're looking around the party, who's powerful, who's not powerful, who should have talked to, who shouldn't have talked to. So everyone ignores the girl serving the drinks, and everyone takes no notice of the kid behind the bar, and they're just looking for powerful people to meet and powerful people to try and connect with. That's in the political sense. What we're talking about in the divine network divine networking is recognizing that every single day somebody will be placed in front of you for you to serve. And they will, at that moment in time, they'll be the most powerful person in the world, but they will be very unlikely to know it. So when I was doing lots of book signing tours, I remember doing 32 cities with Watch My Back, 64 shops, something like that. And every single place we went to, I said to Sharon, I wonder who we're meant to meet today. I wonder who we're supposed to serve today. And I would look out for that. And it would always come with a feeling. There would be a feeling with it. It wouldn't be someone, I wouldn't look at someone and think, oh, he's wearing an expensive watch, or he's driving an expensive car, or he's in expensive clothes, or, you know, I wouldn't look for any of that. It would be about a feeling. I would be introduced to somebody, or I would cross paths with somebody, and there would be a feeling. It's an intuition. That's the divine universe talking to you. That's saying, this is the person, this is what you need to do. So we did this 32 city tour, and this is how I won my BAFTA story. And we ended up in Manchester. And I'm there, and I said to Shannon, I wonder who we're meant to meet tonight. I wonder who we're supposed to see. So we were doing our divine networking. I was looking around, there's lots of heads, lots of faces, lots of, you know, people that were quite celebrated in the area, some, you know, some names and some faces. And I looked around, and suddenly, this was just after I'd finished my talk, a young lad approached me called Ben. His name was Ben Carlish, and he said, I'm working at Waterstones. I'm stacking shelves. I'm an assistant, but I'm an aspiring writer. He said, I was really inspired by your talk. Could I interview you? Is it possible to interview you? I want to try and sell it to the Big Issue. So in my mind, I get this feeling. I get a feeling of, this is the person I'm meant to speak to. But in my head, I'm thinking, I'm really busy. I've got 32 city tour. I'm really struggling for time, and I don't know how I'm going to find time to sit with this lad. So I said to Sharon, I've got to meet this lad, because I've really felt something with him. There was something powerful about feeling something with him. So I contacted him after the book signing, and they said, look, you know, I'm in Huddersfield next week, let's get together. You could do an interview and see if we can sell it. So I met him in Huddersfield the next week. I took my son with me, and we ended up spending half a day with Ben. Got on really well with him, did the interview, didn't think any more of it. He was just a nice bloke, and I'd satisfied my part of the journey, my part of the equation. The key for me is, once I've done the service, is not to think any more about it, where it will go, where it will come, what will come back from it, nothing. It goes out of my mind and I move on. A couple of weeks later I get a phone call from Ben's sister, Natasha, and she said, my brother was really delighted that you took time for him, and he was really inspired. She said, I'm a documentary maker, I'd really like to meet you and perhaps do a documentary about your life. And I said, yeah, that sounds really good. So I went to Birmingham, I met with Natasha and a director called Michael Bay Clifford, and they said, we'd like to do this documentary and we're going to try and sell it, but in the meantime we're going into drama. Do you think you could write something for us, you know, like a short film? I said, yeah, I would love to write you a short film. I said, I'm doing films anyway, but I would love to. And I ended up doing a film for them. No money exchanged hands, because they were just lovely people, and we got on and we just said, let's try and make something. And that film was Bouncer, which was BAFTA nominated. And while we were making Bouncer, I met Ray Winston and Ronnie Fox, who were the stars of the film. I really loved Ronnie. I loved Ray as well, but I really got on with Ronnie, and I said to him, he was telling me lots of stories about when he was in AA, when he was in NA, you know, about his exploits with alcohol, and he's just a great storyteller. And I said to him, I could do you a great film based just on what you're telling me. So I ended up writing a film for him called Brown Paper Bag, which won the BAFTA. So that BAFTA came around because in Manchester I spent 10 minutes with a young guy who was stacking shelves, and he didn't know that at that moment, for me, he was the most powerful man in the world. He was the most linked and influential man in the world at that point. He didn't know, I didn't know. All I felt was the divine introduction. I felt this divine introduction with Ben. That's how it works. That's how it works for me all the time. I've had other occasions where I've had people ring me up people email me and say, I'm struggling, I've got emotional problems, my mum's died or my dad's died or something's happened in the family, and I've had a chat with them on the phone and not thought no more of it. And then 2 years later I've met this person, and it turns out he runs a big business and ends up spending tens of thousands of pounds bringing people to courses and investing in my business. And other people I've met in a similar way, you've done a kindness, you've invested in the divine economy, you think no more of it, and they've ended up becoming very, very close friends and confidants. And other ones have become teachers, but every single one of them, something has come back from it, something very, very profound. Sometimes it's come back instantly, other times it's come back in a week, sometimes it's taken 15 years. But because I understand the divine economy, and because I understand the investment into the divine economy, it gives me some autonomy over my own life. I'm able to invest in myself and plant seeds every single day when people are placed in front of me. So when I meditate, when I pray, I talk to God and I say, just please show me how I can serve you. Show me how I can invest in the divine economy. Put the people before me who you would like me to serve. And I've pride myself and I've practiced being in front of people and thinking, what am I here to do? How can I serve this person? Knowing that it will come back, but not allowing myself to think, where will it come back? How will it come back? Never letting myself think, what's in this for me? Can this person influence my career? Can this person improve my life? All I think of is, how can I serve this person? And then I know in my mind that once I've done that, at some point in the future, I have a guaranteed, 100% guaranteed return. It's never failed me, ever. It's the simplest law. It's very simple. People get mixed up with all this stuff. They think that you're trying to flog a Bible. They think that you're trying to be holier than thou. They think you're trying to be a great person. And a lot of people will look and even, accuse you of being a hypocrite, because they don't understand what you're doing. But what I'm saying is, it's none of that. What it is the best business model possible. It is a divine economy. So when you see people, politicians and bankers and people that have no integrity, or that they're breaking their integrity, all I do is look at them and just feel compassion and feel sorry for them, because I know that they've got to see that again. I know that that's got to return to them. I just know it without any shadow of a doubt. And I don't know it in a sense of judging them, because I've done too many wrong things myself. I've pretty much broken all of the 10 commandments, nearly. And I'm not proud of that. So I've done a lot of things wrong, and I've seen all of these things return to me with profit. So there's no sense of judgment, just a sense of compassion, that we should, as a species, we should at least understand. This divine law, this reciprocal law. And once we do understand it, we get our thinking right, we get our talking right, we get our doing right. And Gandhi believed that if you got those three in alignment, you were congruent, you were connected to divinity, and you would become a great vessel for a powerful energy. And you could continually plant seeds, as much or as little as you want. In the Quran it says, those that strive, God favours. Those that don't strive, He doesn't favour. In the New Testament it says, God gives to those who have, He takes away from those who have not. Basically what He's saying is, when you move, the universe responds. The universe is touch responsive to you. And this huge infinite energy will respond in kind. So if your actions, if your thoughts, and of course a thought is an action, your thoughts and your words and your deeds are in a negative bent, you will be seeing them again. And I know that because I've done it. I'm not sitting here saying that I'm holier than thou. I make lots of mistakes, I fall over. Monkeys fall out of trees, it's human to err. I'm just trying to do damage limitation on that. I'm trying to be more connected with my mind, more connected with my soul, so that I don't continue to make the same mistakes over and over again. I just invest in good actions, in beautiful actions. So everybody, every single person in the world that crosses your path is an asset or a liability, and that's entirely dependent on how you are with them. If we judge people, if we attack people, if we slander people, no matter how much we rationalise what we're doing, if we do all that, these people become a liability, and your actions have become a liability. If we're kind to people, especially people that perhaps don't deserve our kindness, and if we're thoughtful, and if we do our best to do the right thing, we create assets. So we can create as many assets and as many liabilities as we want. The problem is with most people is they don't realise that with their actions they're creating assets and liabilities every single moment of the day. And you see people do this all the time. They advertise their incongruence to the whole world, and they create lots and lots and lots and lots of liabilities. Again, no judgment, I've done exactly the same myself. So my choice is to create assets, as many assets as I can. And if I've got people in my life that I can't particularly get on with, that's okay, that happens. I work on those people in my meditation, in my prayer. I work on them privately. So creating assets will bring you a return that is positive, and liabilities will bring you a return that's negative. Liabilities take away from you, assets will add to you. So just create, if you can, as many assets as you can. The more assets, the better. And this opportunity is there for you every single minute of every single day. It is the most fantastic opportunity. So hopefully you'll look into the divine economy more. Divine networking is massive. If you're on a film set, most probably the person that's going to be the most powerful person in the world is going to be the kid making the tea. He's tomorrow's Spielberg. Maybe it will be the director, but normally from my experience, these opportunities come in disguise. They come in very humble disguises. It might be the guy that you're stepping over who's asking you for 10 pence, in the street. It might be, it might be your sister that you can't get on with, or your mum that you fell out with, or whatever. These opportunities to serve people are infinite. They're out there all the time, and every time you do it selflessly and don't expect a return, then you will get a disproportionate return, and you'll know you're doing it right. Because if you do something for somebody and they don't return it, or you don't get what you expect back from it, you know that you didn't serve them. It was just a barter. And I think sometimes what we do is we serve people from the right place, and then later on, I've seen this with friends of mine who have served people, and they've probably done it from the right place, but later on that person's become successful, and then they say, I did loads of stuff for that guy, I did loads for him, now look at him, he's not bothered with me, he doesn't return the favour. That's because they've broken the bond, they've stopped serving, they've become a barter. So we don't do things for return, we do things because it's good to serve, and we know that at some point it will come back again. And the universe will, if you start to develop a strong vessel for this energy, a strong conduit, a powerful cable, this energy, this divine energy, this nameless energy wants expression. It wants to express itself. It wants to express itself in the world. And if you build up a half decent cable, it will rush towards you. It will rush for expression through you. But we need to make sure that we have the breath of God behind it. We need to make sure we have righteousness behind it. So that whole thing again about, I'm not doing this to serve me, but I know ultimately that it will. Charles Handy calls it proper selfishness. You do it for the right reasons, and it will serve them and it will serve you. The top end of Buddhism is service. But again, the Dalai Lama says, but don't worry, whatever you give out will continue to return. It has to, it must, but we can't look for it. It's a very, very fine dynamic. Don't look for the return. Just keep investing, just keep planting seeds. The universe is very ripe for selfless seeds. I'm trying to get the right word for this. It needs to be selfless. It needs to be selfless, and we have to keep checking ourselves with this all the time. So we don't do it and say, we don't do it and talk about it, we don't do it and brag about it. If you're a teacher, of course you have to use 1 or 2 examples, but 98% of what you do should be anonymous. Anyway, so that's the divine economy. I hope it helps, hope it plants a seed, and I hope that you go out now and have a think about who you can serve, and how you can serve yourself by serving other people. Selfless service is definitely the way. I love the story from the Bhagavad Gita when Arjuna is going into battle. He's going into the battle at Gur, etc. He's going to win his kingdom back. His cousins, the Kauravas, have stolen his kingdom. He's going to go and win it back. And he has Krishna on the chariot with him. But as he gets into battle, he asks Krishna to pull up in the middle of the battlefield. He wants to have a look around. When he gets there and he starts to look around, he realises that his brothers are in, his brothers, his cousins, his uncles, his fathers, his teachers, they're all in the enemy lines and in his own lines. And he recognises suddenly that if he goes into battle to win his kingdom back, some of his family are going to die, and lots of his teachers are going to be killed, and lots of people are going to be hurt. And Krishna suddenly loses the heart for the fight, and he says to Krishna, I can't go in, I can't fight. What's the point of winning my kingdom back if I haven't got my family? At that point he falls into despair, and he says, I don't want my kingdom. I want to run away, I want to hide, I want to lose myself in the woods and beg for food. I don't want my kingdom if it means killing people. He said, how can there be any righteousness in killing people? And Krishna, Lord Krishna, delivers the Bhagavad Gita, and the Bhagavad Gita is a spiritual discourse that helps people to come back into alignment. So when people are connected to God, they're in alignment. That's what religion means. The word religion means, in Old Greek, it means religare, to reconnect, man to his source, to realign. So when sometimes we feel fear and we feel pain and we feel terror, it's because we've fallen out of alignment with our purpose. And again, in the Old Testament, the word purpose means God, or the breath of God, or the righteousness of God, or the backing of God. So when we have purpose, we have God at our back. The Holy Spirit is breathed through our actions. So Krishna falls out of alignment and loses his connection with his purpose. And Lord Krishna says to him, you're making the mistake, you're falling into Maya, you're falling into illusion. He said, these people are already dead. He said, their karma has already unfolded. What he's saying is, your cousins, who stole your kingdom, they are carrying their karma, they're carrying their actions. No matter what you do, it's what I said to Arjuna, if you walk away from here now, and if you go and beg in the forest, it won't make no difference to their karma. Their karma is already set. Their karma is going to unfold no matter what you do. But your duty today, as the leader of the world, he's Prince Arjuna is one of the Pandava brothers, and the Pandava brothers, led by Yudhisthira, run the world. So they are the leaders of the world, and people, their duty is to protect the world and to protect people. Their duty is to fight and keep their kingdom. So he said, you must go out there and you must do your duty. You have to do your duty. Their karma is going to unfold anyway, but you must do your duty.